Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Stop, Look, and Listen. I'm your host, LaTroy Gardner. This week, we got the home team back in the building. You know, somebody I've known for almost over 20 years.
Yeah.
Battery Creek High School, Beaufort, South Carolina. Came in 1 year behind me. His brother Corey, 1 year ahead of me.
Yeah.
We got the author of the Supreme Beingz series.
Yes, sir.
Part 2 coming out June 19th.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got author Damon Thompson. Welcome to the show, Damon.
Welcome. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Appreciate the introduction, man. I feel special.
No doubt. Nah, you're doing big things. I mean, you know, having, you know, someone I grew up with, you know, putting pen to paper and,
yeah,
you know, publishing books, you
yes,
know,
sir.
that's major right there. So I salute.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, man. Yeah. Supreme Beingz, man. It's a saga, man. You know, it starts with finding the energy. You know, that was book 1. So now we're at book 2.
Yep, here's Finding the Energy.
Absolutely.
Available now. If you haven't picked it up yet, it's a good read.
Absolutely. So it's go ahead, Detroit, my bad.
No, go ahead and continue to, you know, tell us about Weaponz of the Spirit.
So Weaponz of the Spirit, it's a sequel to Finding the Energy. It actually picks up exactly where Finding the Energy left off. So Finding the Energy, we have, you know, the characters identifying their abilities or their powers, and it rolls right into Weaponz of the Spirit. That's why, you know, it's labeled Weaponz of the Spirit, because they're going to use their gifts and powers in the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So just talk about some of the main characters, and
okay.
if you pulled from your personal life or those of people in your inner circle.
I definitely, man, for the first book, my grandfather, the character Doc, that's actually his real nickname, Doc. So he's kind of like the guru, you know, of the entire series. He's like the elder, so to say. So he's leading his grandchildren along the path of basically saving the world, in a sense, on some superhero stuff. So we have Doc, one of the main characters. We also have Lauren, which is I pulled from Lauren. She's a little bit of everyone, I would say. You know, she's pieces of everyone, her characteristics. She's one of the main characters as well. We also have Stax. I put myself in Stax's shoes just to say his profession is more of a therapy counselor type role, kind of where I landed, not on the licensed professional, but just in that field. I would say Miles, that's my brother Corey. You know, I have him in there doing little tricks and trades or whatever. So, and also have a few more family members. They all identify as soon as they read the book, man. One of my favorite characters is Faze. He's like the youngest out of the group. He's the flyest, he's witty, he's a barber. So it's like a lot of the young generation gravitate toward Faze.
Right. So just tell me, like, especially since you're using people close to you to create these characters, once you reveal to them, like, yo, you're Faze, you're Q, you're Miles, etc., did you sort of pick their brains as to how to further develop each character?
I actually didn't. Before I actually wrote the book, I sent out, we have like a group text. I was like, yo, man, I'm about to create this book. And it was like, yo, man, I was like, I may use some of your characteristics.
Right.
So they was like, go for it. But it's not, I would say in the second book, I kind of mixed it all up. The first book is I would say it's the blueprint. A lot of the characteristics, some of the stories are true. A lot of the stories are make believe in there just to make it interesting. But as I I geared into book 2, I kind of stray away from the, you know what I'm saying, the true stuff. I just wanted to mix it up a little bit.
Okay, that's understandable. And I sort of see Doc as the great unifier and like encouraging, you know, his family to utilize the library and understand his struggles as far as like especially during the civil rights era. Just speak of the significance of Doc in the series.
Yeah, Doc, my grandfather, man, he was more of a from my understanding, when I grew up with him, I mean, he had his history before I was even born. Let the other people tell it, but from my knowledge, he was a stern grandfather, old school, no sugarcoat and give it to you straight. But he, you know, if he could help you, he would help you. You know, he would help you along your path, along your journey. I would say all of his grandchildren were raised in his home. They came through that house. You had to go through that house. You know, that home is like a significant place in Burton, you know, where I'm from. So just his stories, the gems he taught us along the way, and just, you know, to be there for your family, it shaped our upbringing and our growth.
Okay. So so just speak on growing up in Burton or Beaufort, South Carolina.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Beaufort, Burton is the stomping ground, you know, for my family, the guys I grew up with, the BFA, my brothers from another, you know, Beaufort. I started at Shell Point, then Broad River Elementary, and moved on to the legendary Robert Smalls Middle School, Battery Creek. You know, you had your trials and tribulations in Burton, man, growing up, riding bikes, playing outside until sun up and sundown, eating blackberries, sour weed, just being a child, man, from the country. It's beautiful, man. Putting like soda cans in the back of your bike to make it the motorcycle sound. All of that stuff, man.
Or cards.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so just talk about how you as a kid started recognizing and exercising your creative gene.
I would say as a kid, like my mom tells this story every time we get around a group of people, which is embarrassing, but since we're here, I might as well share it.
Yeah, you're around family, so let's
She told the story, man, and it's true. When I was a kid, I would play with toys. My favorite toys were, I would say Ninja Turtles. So I would have like, we lived in a trailer, so we would have those events where you could pull up the top. So for the air conditioning to flow, but I would actually put the Ninja Turtles inside the vent for the sewer. And, you know, she would pick that as, you know, my creativity. And I always like to play alone, man. So even with the music thing, I dibble and dabble in the music world, doing little local mixtapes here and there, making beats. So it was all part of my creativity, you know, but my mom actually allowed me to have that space to create. That was the main thing. She didn't shun me away from whatever I found out that I was creative at. If it was playing with toys, video games, doing music, poetry, she embraced it all. She bought me my first keyboard. You know, she encouraged me to write. So big props to my mom, man, for just paving the way and allowing me to identify my energy, I would say.
Okay. So you just mentioned that you used to rap a little bit. So just talk about the adjustments you made from one form of storytelling to the next in the process of becoming an author.
Well, it's more, when you're writing, I would say a song or 16 bars, you have a certain format. You know, you have the 16 bars, the hook, 16 bars, or however your format is. So you don't have that much to say. I think Andre 3000 had a song called 16 Ain't Enough. You know, you can't fit your whole life story into 16 bars.
Yeah.
So
it was on Rick Ross' album.
Yeah. So it's like, why not create a book to tell you a whole life story? You know what I'm saying? Create a book, create a series. So for me, it gives me more time. It allows me to create more. It allows me to pull from different aspects of life. And it's just, the process is more, it's longer, but the process to me is better.
Mm-hmm. So just talk about the process of getting published. Like, did you have to pitch the idea of a series, or did you already have a book completed, or did you just submit an excerpt?
The first book, Finding the Energy, well, both are self-published. Mm-hmm. I reached out to one of the well-known authors, Jaquavis Coleman. I reached out to him through Instagram, and he kind of showed me the ropes on how to get it self-published. He linked me with I would say an editor to go through that whole process, and they edited the first book. They had helped me with the cover and everything. So once I learned that part of the game, the second book, I was kind of on my own. So I reached out to Palmetto Publishing, which I believe they did a great job, man. They're a publishing house, and a publishing company out of Charleston, South Carolina. I paid for basically the editing, typesetting, and they actually set my book up on Ingram Sparks, which is a distributor. But as of the cover, I went through Fiverr to actually develop the cover.
Okay. So, yeah. So how did you enjoy kind of independently putting the book out?
Man, it was a lot. It's a lot of work, Troy. Like, for real. I enjoy it because everything that I put into it, I get back. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't have to worry about. I look at it as a record label or a record deal. The independent. Right. I feel like I'm an independent artist, which I am. So the work I put in is the work I get back. So it's a lot of work to do, but if you enjoy it, it really doesn't feel like work. You know, it's just, I'm doing what I love doing.
Once again, Weaponz of the Spirit.
Yes, sir.
Available June 19th. The second book in the series, the Supreme Beingz series. Just talk about how you deal with writer's block and the pressure to meet deadlines. Or do you even have a deadline?
I do. I have them in my mind. But writer's block, man, it's real. Because the first book, it took me about 2 to 3 years to actually finish writing the book. I was in between jobs. We had just had our our second daughter. So all of that played a part in me developing that first book. But when I do have writer's block, man, I'll just leave it alone. You know, I'll just sit back, relax, try to live a little bit, maybe travel, get some new experiences, and it'll click like a light bulb, man. Once that light bulb click, you know, I'll make sure I have my cell phone where I can jot some notes down, or even a pen and a pad. So so I won't forget, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. So was it intentional to go the route of a superhero fiction genre?
Yeah, it was very intentional, man. I grew up watching a lot of cartoons in the 80s that didn't represent, well, I didn't see any representation of myself. I didn't see any Black superheroes, Black cartoon characters, whatever, even on TV. So to me, it's just showing people that, you know, there can be something positive without being messy or whatever. But I just wanted to make sure if there's a young kid that's into this type of stuff, fiction and fantasy, they can identify one of the characters.
Right. Similar to how everyone gravitated towards Black Panther.
There you go, man. Black Panther, man. That movie was very, very inspirational to me. Like, I never read comic books growing up, but I was always a movie head. So I would watch the Marvel series, and when Black Panther was announced, I mean, it geared me towards my first book, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Just to create. And once I started writing, everything just started to flow naturally.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when was the decision made to create a series instead of just a one-off? in the process of writing a series, is your approach to plot the entire story for the series, or treat each book as a separate entity and build on the story moving forward?
It was intentional with the first book. I looked at it as a lifetime story. So, it's going to have to be broken down into series. So I actually plotted it out. My writing process with the series, I get the titles first. Once I identify the titles, I start plotting the series out. So right now I have all titles. It's going to be a 7-book series, so I have all the 7 titles. But and I have the ending of the 7th book. But I'll just have to fill in the middle, and that's that's the fun part, creating the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So, like we said, with Weapons of the Spirit, is Doc and Lauren pretty much the core of Weapons of the Spirit? Who else are you introducing in the second?
I'm actually introducing a few antagonists. We have Queen Dahlia. She's a real beast, I would say. She's thorough. Queen Dahlia, she's like the head antagonist. We have Solek. He's like I would say the capo to her. And we also have Lord Salvo, the fallen angel, which I believe is a real dope character that I think a lot of people will just enjoy his journey as well, because it's a lot of backstory to all of the characters. But Lauren will be she will be the main focus in the second book.
Cool. So just talk about the process of like promoting and like getting the word out, especially as we sort of get in the clear from the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like book signings, promo tours, all that good stuff.
Marketing is my Achilles heel, man. With my personality, it's hard to actually get out there and market a book, but I'm learning as I along this journey. I actually went to a Comic-Con event in Greensboro about 2 weeks ago. Right. So a lot of people out there got the advanced copy, and we're getting some great feedback from them as well. But just making sure, my wife Simona, she's been behind the scenes helping me with the marketing campaign. She's been setting up a lot of Comic-Con sessions. We have from July, I would say, into September, we'll probably be joining a Comic-Con event. And I'm actually going to be in Beaufort on the 26th of this month to the bookstore for a book signing. June 26th at the Beaufort bookstore. So just trying to get out to more bookstores, more local bookstores, and more events that's, that approve of the vendor to sell books, and just not comics, but actual novels. Yeah.
So just talk about some of the long-term plans you have for the Supreme Beingz series, like merchandising, cartoons, comic books.
It's the sky is only the view, man. It's inevitable, man. We're looking at merchandise. I'm wearing a t-shirt right now, a Supreme Beingz t-shirt, if you can see it. My brother Corey, he's going to be the head of the merch side, so he's going to handle that. We have wristbands, just little perks with the book when you buy a book. But we're looking at movies. I mean, it's long term, but for right now, man, I really want to get out there. I want action figures. I want clothes. I want everything. I want it all, man. I want it to be it's going to be a brand. So when you see Supreme Beingz with a Z, it's going to mean something.
And to kind of go back into the hometown, so Beaufort. What does it mean to you to, come from where we came from, and, just see how far you've come, and, where you're at now with being a published author, where we grew up. Sometimes in some places it was hard to get to a library, or libraries, was like 10, 15 miles away. You couldn't walk to one. So just speak on that importance for the youth.
It means a lot. I never thought that I would be a published author, because at the point when I was a child, I didn't see that as, my mission or my purpose. Just going to school, going to college, that was kind of the blueprint. But it means a lot to me, because I can show my daughters, my cousins, my nephew, like, you can do other things other than basketball and football. Where if you get out there and if you're fishing it and if someone catch it, man, it can really make you some money or a career. That's my long-term goal, to be a full-time author. To me, it's so much peace and inner peace with doing something that you love doing. Right. It's just a great feeling. So if I can spread that and show my family members and friends all the world that if you do what your purpose is, you'll live a peaceful life.
All right. So you also give back in another way to the community. So you mentioned earlier the BFA, the Brothers from Another. You all created a scholarship. Just talk about how you and the fellows give back to the community.
Okay. Yeah, I would say, I think that we started back around 2008. Just to drop a few names: Anwan, Torian, Devin, Timmy, myself, Corey, William, a lot of the guys, man, Devon. And if I'm leaving any core members out, please forgive me. But a lot of us, we're all from Burton. We decided, let's do a cookout, man. Let's just do a cookout to give back to the community. We did one cookout. We all raised the money. We put money in to assist one girl, one boy, one young gentleman, one young lady that was on their way to college. So we wanted to gift them with a little scholarship along their way, just paying for books or whatever. So we did that the first year. It was a success, and it grew every year. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, we had to pause it, but we're still thinking about doing a scholarship just through social media or something like that. And a great feeling, man, I would say, is when those recipients of the scholarship actually, when you see them out in the community doing what they love doing. Like I saw one young lady, Kyra, she's a nurse, I believe. And just to think that we gave her a little scholarship back in the days, man, and she put it to use, man. So that's like, it's a warm feeling inside. And right. They're all from the neighborhood.
And I mean, sometimes all they need is that little bit of encouragement, or that rocket launcher to take off, and the sky's the limit.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So feel free to plug Weaponz of the Spirit. Tell the audience why they should purchase the book, where they can get it from, where they can find more about you, what's next.
Yeah.
Floor is yours, D.
Weaponz of the Spirit, guys. Come on. It's a sequel. It's different. It's not like any other book you read before. It's full of knowledge. It's funny. It's comical. There's some real stories in there. It's inspirational. I would definitely recommend the young guys out there to get a copy. I'm working. I'm on chapter 6 now of the 3rd book. I should be done hopefully by the end of summer. But you can find this book on my website at DamonThompsonBooks.com. Yeah, it's actually you can get both books on the website, DamonThompsonBooks.com. Weaponz of the Spirits will also be available on Amazon, Target, I want to say Walmart, Barnes and Nobles. Wherever you can find a book online, it'll be available. But just type in Supreme Beingz, Weaponz of the Spirit, and it should pop up. But June 19th is actually the release date. It's on pre-order now. So we have the hard copy, and we also have the paperback. So come out and support on June 26th at the Beaufort bookstore. If I can plug the address, that's 2127 Boundary Street, Beaufort, South Carolina, from 2 to 4. We'll be out there signing books. Hopefully Corey will have some t-shirts, and just want to give back, man.
All right. And is it also available in audio?
It's not available on audio, but I'm definitely working on getting the third book on audio.
Okay. Damon Thompson, my guy.
Yes, sir.
It's always good touching base with you. I mean,
sir.
You know, we walked the halls of Battery Creek together. We worked at Winn-Dixie together.
Absolutely.
Also worked at Winn-Dixie with his brother Corey.
Yeah.
You know, so like I said, I'm proud of you. Glad you're relatively local, so we can hang out like we've been doing. So, you know, having some real talk, you know, showing that we're grown men with focus on generational wealth. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
So make sure, like you said, Supreme Beingz, Weaponz of the Spirit.
Yes, sir.
June 19th on his website. Check it out. So for Stop, Look, and Listen, I'm your host, LaTroy Gardner. See you next week. Peace and blessings.
My man.
Thank you for checking us out on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe for more great content. And don't forget to check out our website at GOB Radio Network.com.